Hey there, it's Friday, August 3rd, and we're making progress on the kitchen repairs. The countertop guys were here today, and they broke the glue joint in the countertop that was here. Successfully broke it, that is, and separated the two pieces of countertop. And the countertops are all out there on the patio waiting. So the guys that did the countertop for us a long time ago did a pretty bad job of making things fit. So, and we're going to reuse the countertops. So normally what you would do is you would put your cabinets out and then make a template and then make the countertop fit your cabinets. But we've got the countertop made already, so we need to make sure that the cabinets fit the countertop. So this is like backwards that we have to do this thing. So what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to make a template of the countertop that's out there on the patio. I should have done this first. I didn't think of it, but now that it's in two pieces, it's a little bit more difficult, but I'll manage. But we're going to make a template of the countertop and then bring the template in here and lay it down here and see how it fits and it follows the edges properly. And then we'll know what we're going to do with the replacement cabinets. And we're going to try to make the countertop fit the cabinets better than it did before. When I say fit, the amount of overhang over here was like 2 inches over here and less over there and way less over there. And here's an example here. I think this is if you look at how crooked that is. And this one will do the same. That's the kind of work these guys did. So we're going to try to fix that guy's stuff. And so what we're going to have here, we're going to make a new cabinet for this. We're going to make a new cabinet for that. And we're going to make the panels across the back. And should not be that difficult to do. But we're going to change some things up here. And that's why the fitment thing is kind of critical. Because the way we had the cabinets here before and the countertop here before, you really couldn't see the anomalies of the fitment. But what we're going to do is we're going to move this cabinet, lengthen this cabinet out to near the edge of the countertop. The countertop used to have an overhang of about 6 inches, I think, over here. So if the cabinet is close to the end of the countertop, if there's a incongruity, if you will, you'll be able to see it, because it's going to be a close proximity. When it had 6 inches overhang, you could never see it. And the countertop also hung over way far on this side, so you would never see any of that. So now that we went to Lowe's today and Home Depot, and we bought some 1/4 inch, the cheapest plywood we could find. And we're going to make the templates and check the fit. And once we get the fitment figured out, how things are going to go, then we can start to demo this area. All right, we're starting to make the pattern here, or template. This is part of the sink cutout is there, part of the countertop. And right there is a seam that connects to this piece. I think it's, that end right there. So I got the plywood I bought yesterday, this 1/4 inch cheap stuff. And I'm gonna super glue these pieces together with some accelerator and build the outline out of this stuff. And that one there ends flush with the seam, and the piece down there will be flush with that seam. And yeah, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I probably should outline the sink as well. I gotta think about that. All right, looky there. We're gonna give that just another minute or two to fully cure on that end. And we're gonna transfer into the house and see how this thing sits. Here's what we're dealing with. Okay, we got our template in place. And so the sink is kind of our boss because, of course, the countertop is already cut and we need the front edge of the countertop to be pretty close to being even with the cabinets. So we're fairly straight here. We're about 1/8 of an inch proud on that side, and we're about flush here, so that's not bad. This is the best as I can get it so far. So we're 1 5/8 inch, 1 5/8 inch, and almost 5/8, 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inches, 2 3/16, 2 1/8, and this is 6.5, 6 and almost 7/8. I don't even know what it is on this side. This doesn't really matter so much because it's got so much overhang. But just out of curiosity, 10 1/4, 10 3/4, 10 1/2, 11 1/4, 11 1/8, 11. Incredible. It was 3/4 of an inch off square on the cut that was right here. So we're just to true this up, I'm cutting off from 0 to 3/4 of an inch tapered cut in order to get this to swing out into the right place, which was off by 1.5 inches over here. Hey, it's Wednesday, August 7th, and we are making progress. And so far it looks very promising. These panels on the back side here were screwed on without glue. So they just came right off, which is wonderful. I still haven't taken that one off yet. I've removed the laminate or Formica, whatever you want to call it. This is the piece off the side over there. And I got this piece off almost completely unscathed right there. The top edge of that got broke when the countertop guys were removing the countertops. They dragged it over the edge and it popped that corner off there. But and there's a little crack at the bottom, but that piece is big enough and in good enough condition that that can replace the side piece here. And then the remaining parts that I'm peeling off the back could replace the Formica on the front of these cabinets if we decide to go that way. That would be the quickest and easiest way to repair this kitchen, and then the rest of the kitchen just stays the same. If we decide that we're not going to reuse the Formica and just do the patch up here on these two cabinets, then we will recover all the cabinets with new Formica, which is not too incredibly difficult. So the Formica that we're harvesting, I'm using the word harvesting, from the outside here will leave us with the back of these cabinets needing to be covered with something else. And it can be a complementary color. It's something that goes better with this outside here, anything, because it doesn't have to match the kitchen, really. But anyway, those are our options right now. Main thing I wanted to do is see what it's going to take to remove these cabinets. And I'm going to see if I can source some of this material. I really wasn't thinking of doing that at first. But it would be so easy just to make a box with this stuff. And the inside will be completely done and painted. And all I got to do is cover the outside, exactly how these things were made originally. All right, that's all that's going on. And oh yeah, it's still wet underneath this cabinet down here. It's been what, 2 months, and so that was like really saturated. So here's why I always say, don't ever put your cabinets in before your floor tile, because it creates this trough. And if you ever do get a leak, your cabinets are just laying in a puddle. Exactly what happened to me. Here it's been 3 months and it's still wet down there. Wet enough that, I mean, it's already been drying, but it's wet enough that liquid water was on the tiles here just a little bit ago. So, yep. Alrighty, so let's see if we can get some live action here and show you how I remove the Formica. I just using my propane torch here and warm it up. Once you get started, it's not so bad. Pretty painful, tedious, slow work. All right. So I'm going to go across the whole top edge here. Some areas are stuck really well, and others are not that much. Like that top edge was actually pretty easy right there. It cracks real easy, so you gotta be careful with it. It really is amazing how much heat this Formica can take. I call it Formica. I don't know what brand it is. All right. So once we get it going, because at the bottom edge down there, it's the tile floor is up against it, so we got to go from the top down in order to do this carefully. Once we get this going, I use my square and push it down in there. And I'm not prying out with it. I'm just pushing down. Starts feeding. And that's pretty much all there is to it.